Hey, it's your boy, Mr. Waltz. Going to show you how to do the lines and numbers and everything for inches. So I'm going to click the Create Sketch tool right here. I'm going to click on the front of my ruler, um, and then I'm going to zoom in here. Make sure you have grid and snaps turned off. The grid will show up, but don't have snap on because we may want to put things in places that aren't on the grid. Okay, cool. So we're going to use the line tool, and what we're going to do is make a bunch of lines here to represent the inch marks. So you just click the line tool right here, um, go down here on the bottom, and you can click. And what we're going to do is we're going to go vertical, and we want to make this first line, we want to make it 0. 0.1. And so when you draw a line before you click the second time, you can just type 0.1 and hit enter, and it'll draw a line that high. Okay. Now I'm going to move this dimension outside. So I'm going to hit escape and click on the number and just drag that out. And then what I'm going to do is hit D for dimension, and I want to dimension how far is it from the corner. Okay. So this is a first mark on the ruler, the smallest mark. This is 1/16 of an inch. So it should be 1/16. Hit enter. Now you will see that it displays a decimal 0.063. This confuses a lot of people. 1/16 of an inch is not 0.063. 1 divided by 16, let's put this into Google, the Google calculator, is 0.0625. And so what Fusion is doing is it's rounding that number off for display. But in its memory, it is exactly 1/16 of an inch. If you use 0.063, if you type in 0.063, your ruler is going to be, every little mark is going to be slightly too long. By the time you get to the end of the ruler, you're going to be off by like quite a bit. Okay. And you're not going to have a good time. So make sure when you put these dimensions in, you type 1/16, 1/16. All right, cool. So now we're going to make some more lines. So we can make another line. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to go up. This is 2/16 of an inch. That's 1/8. This line is going to be bigger because it is 1/8 of an inch. So I want to make this 0.2 tall. All right. And then again, I'm going to hit escape, drag this dimension over here. Um, Again, I want to dimension the spacing between these two numbers. So I'm going to hit dimension, D for dimension, click on the left point, click on the right point, and I can put this dimension down here. So now I'm going to show you something that'll blow your mind. You may think you would just have to type in 1/16, and you can do that. That would be fine because it's 1/16 apart. But you can also do this before you type. So when this is just, you can make this blank, just click on the other dimension. And what it'll do is it'll copy the parameter for that dimension in there. So every time you type in a dimension, it stores it. The first thing you type is D0. The second thing is D1. So this one's called D6, and it's 1/16 of an inch. So you can just click on that and hit enter, and it'll automatically copy that dimension. It's pretty cool. So you can do that way, but feel free to just type 1/16 if you feel more comfortable with that. All right. So we got 1/16, 2/16. We're going to draw another line. This is 3/16. You may recall from the ruler lesson that all these ones are going to be, all the odd ones will be the 16ths that are the shortest lines. Now, so what we want to do, we want to make this the same length as the other one. Now, we could put in a 0.1 dimension on that, but we would end up with a lot of dimensions and it would be very messy. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the equal constraint. So equal constraint is right up here. I'm going to click equal. I'm going to click this first 16th, and I'm going to click the third one and make those equal. And then I got to dimension it. So I'm going to go in here and say this is going to be how far from the last one. Well, I could put the number again. I could put 1/16, or I can just click on the previous dimension and then enter, and it gets it. Okay. So now we're going to do 4/16. Now this is going to be 4/16. This is a quarter of an inch. This is going to be even taller. So I'm going to make this really tall. I'm going to make this one go up 0.3. So I go up, type 0.3, hit enter, boom, there it is. There's a dimension, hit escape, drag it out. That's just to keep things neat and tidy so we can see what we're looking at. D for dimension, bottom points, click on the previous dimension, hit enter. Okay, so now we're rolling. So now we got another small one. This gets a little repetitive here. So I'm going to do more clicking and less talking. Anyways, use the equal constraint there between those, and then D for dimension. You do have to dimension all these lines. It's a little annoying, but we can do it. So now we're going to draw our next line. This is going to be, let's see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is 6/16. This is going to be 3/8 of an inch. So it's going to match the height of our 1/8 of an inch line here. So I'm going to hit the equal constraint, click that blue line, click the black line, boom, same size. D for dimension, click the two bottom points, and then copy the dimension from there. Boom. Okay. Keep going. Next one. This is 7/16. It's an odd. It's going to be short. Oops, that glitched. One more time. You can hit L for the line tool if you don't want to go up there and click and make that match. So that's going to be an equal with one of the short ones. And then D for dimension on the bottom, D dimension. And you can just click the previous one. There we go. Okay, so that was 7/16. Now we got 8/16. 8/16. What is that? 8/16 is just 1/2. So this is a new big line. We're going to go even bigger. We're going to go up here. We're going to go 0.4, 0.4. And I'm going to hit escape, drag the dimension out. And then D for dimension on the bottom. I want to dimension that to match the previous one. All right. So now it just kind of repeats again. This same pattern that you had going for the first half of an inch, we did half an inch. We're going to do the other half. It just follows the same pattern of lines. Small, medium, small, bigger, small, medium, small, really big. The only thing is when we get to the end, we're going to have the biggest line, which is 0.5. So just keep rolling through and just kind of do the same thing we've been doing. This is a short line for 9/16. You got to dimension all of them the same way. This is 10/16, which is 5/8. So this one's a little taller. It's the equal constraint. And I want to equal this one with that one because that's an 1/8 mark. Another 16th mark. Equal it. That one. Now we got, let's see, this was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. The next one is going to be 12/16. And 12/16, well, that is 3/4 of an inch. So we want to match the other 1/4 inch line. T for dimension, steal a dimension, and then I'm going to equal it with the other 1/4 line. So almost there, just a little bit more to go. It's a little boring, but it's good practice for you guys. So just doing the same dimension every time for the width. And then equal these, you got to figure out which one is which. Can be a little tricky. And I need to equal. That's going to equal that one. And if you get lost on this, there's a cheat sheet in the assignment that you can look at to show you all the lines and what their measurement is. Equal those two D4 dimension. And then that, and let's see, this was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Guess what? Now we're ready for 16/16. That is 1 inch. So we're going to make this one really tall. We're going to go up 0.5. Make sure it's vertical. It'll stick when it gets vertical. Hit escape and drag the dimension out. I like to have all the dimensions over here. And then down here on the bottom, one more dimension between these two. Boom. 1. And I don't have to type it. I can just click there and copy it. That works too. Okay, there we go. So all the lines are done. Super. Let's finish our sketch. Let's go home. And now we're going to extrude, dude. Now you may say, Mr. Waltz, why don't we make all the lines for the rest of the ruler? So I tried doing it that way, and it makes the software kind of laggy. It doesn't like having all those lines. So I'm going to show you another way to do it. First, we're just going to extrude these. So we're going to make these solid. So we're going to hit the extrude tool. There's 2 extrude modes. There's one called regular extrude. There's one called thin extrude. We're going to use the thin extrude. Thin extrude will let you extrude things that are just lines, okay? When you use regular extrude, it has to be a closed shape like a circle, a square, a triangle, etc. Okay? So thin extrude, it can do just lines. It's already selected this big rectangle. Well, we don't want that. Hit the X. Now we want to select all these little lines here. So we're just going to drag here, make a little box, and you can select them all. Cool. So now we're going to figure out how far to extrude. We can go out. That looks neat, but laser cutter can't do that. We've got to go in. And the number we're going to use, notice it's negative now. We're going to use minus 0.005. So that's how far it's going to cut into the wood. Also, the lines, it's going to take our lines and it's going to make them wide. And the amount that it makes them is right here. It's called wall thickness. And we're going to make the wall thickness be 0.0052. Okay. And then the other thing that we want to do is a wall location. What it does is it basically looks at your line and it makes a little wall. We're going to put the wall location on the center so that the little cut that it makes is centered on our line. All right. And I'm going to click the front view and just zoom in here so you can see what it looks like. So you can see the blue line. That's our line that we drew. And then the actual extrude it's going to make is that rectangle that it's around it. Okay. And that's what we did there. Okay. So anyways, distance is minus 0.005. Wall thickness is 0.005. Make sure you have wall location center. It's on cut and hit OK. And magic's going to happen. Let's go to the home view. And we can zoom in here and you can see that there are some lines on here. And it's looking good. That's definitely something the laser can cut. Now, the previous thing that we said was, well, you got these lines. We got 1 inch worth. Well, it's a 12-inch ruler, guy, so we need more lines. So let me show you how to fix that, and then that'll be the end of this video. We'll go on to the next one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit create, and I am going to find the pattern tool down here. So here's pattern. And we're going to make what's called a rectangular pattern. So a rectangular pattern is basically a grid of things. You can make a row of things or a column of things or a grid of them. We're going to make a row. So we click rectangular pattern. Over here, there's a tool. It pops up. There's different types of things you can do. You do faces, which would just be like the side of something. You can do bodies. You can do features. You can do components. We're going to do features because what we want to do is everything we just extruded. Okay. So we're going to choose features here. Very important to do this. Then we're going to say objects. So the objects are going to be the extrude that we want to copy. Now, you could select it on the screen. There's a way to do that. But if you go down into your timeline, bottom left, down here, you'll see you have extrude 2. That's the extrude we just made. You want to click that, okay? So it's going to make copies of those cuts that we just made. Next thing we want to do is put the distance type, spacing is correct. The quantity, well, we want 12. So we're going to put 12 in there. Then we're going to put the distance. Well, how far apart do we want them? Well, each one is 1 inch, so we want them 1 inch apart. So I'm going to change the distance to 1, okay? And last thing it needs is the direction. I forgot to do that. Right here, it says direction, select. You got to tell it which way to go. So I'm going to click select right there. And I'm going to click this edge on the bottom of the ruler, this line. Click there, okay? And then you can see what it's going to do is make 12 copies of your extrude 1 inch apart, and you get all the lines on your ruler. All right. So hit OK. Wait for it. And then we're looking good. There's the inch lines. Check them out. Make sure if you got it right, you should have your last line right on the edge on the end of the ruler. Okay. So hope that went well for you. Go on to the next video. I'll show you how to make the numbers and text and stuff like that. Good luck. Have fun.